Child, okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about the real reason that J-Lo's album flopped. Because it's basically what I've been saying for the longest. Nobody cares about Bennifer, but of course, when I say it, I'm a hater. I love the album. Everybody got an opinion. It ain't about my opinion. I go by the people. I assess the room, which is what Virgos do. We go in a room, we scope it out, we assess everybody. We take our own little mental census. But the people have spoken, and this is the reason. And I'm not the only one that said it. Someone who actually worked for Jennifer Lopez came to this assessment. Sometimes I feel I get irritated because I don't want to get into a whole "I told you so." Although I think we Virgos low key do get off on "I told you so." I'm not gonna hold you, but I think we do tend to low key get off on. See, I want to say "I told you so," bitch, but the proof is in the pudding. It's there. So, um, but then the tea comes out, and then it's like, okay, so I don't know what I'm talking about, but then I'm gonna give it a moment, and then when that the tea's out there, you can't deny it. So ever since J-Lo released her latest album, This Is Me Now, she's been trolled online for releasing the most boring and uninspired album of her career. She's also being dragged for releasing two of the most disingenuous visual pieces, which would be her semi-autobiographical but not really short musical film and documentary, and has been savagely trolled by people on social media from, there was a viral clip that was going around on, from This Is Me Now, a love story where she mentions ad nauseam about being from the block. Oh, reminds me of the time when I used to run up and down the block. Bitch, what block you talking about? Because you always talking about the block, but I need specifics. Was it, in LA, would it be Hollywood and Vine? I don't know those streets in the Bronx because, child, I don't go to the Bronx. Only people from the Bronx go to the Bronx. But for the most part, I have lived every borough but the Bronx. I grew up in Brooklyn, born and raised, Brownsville, Brooklyn, lived in Queens, lived in Manhattan, lived in Staten Island. We don't know her. Um, and the Bronx is like, no, ma'am. So the question remains, why is her music career flopping so hard? Well, according to her former publicist, Rob Shooter, she didn't learn her lesson after co-starring with her husband, her now husband, in Geely, because apparently Ben might be her career Achilles heel. Now, according to Page Six, because they have the story, it says Shooter believes the singer's first album in 10 years is a flop. And let me remind y'all, This Is Me Now debuted at number 38, because remember I said it was 28, but I was wrong. It was 38 when it was released back in February, but before it quickly dropped off the Billboard 200 and sank without a ripple. He said, and I quote, Jennifer's always been a marketing and PR genius, but her biggest miscalculation here is that she thinks the world is still interested in Ben and Jennifer's love story. This is what he told the Post. But no one cares about Bennifer anymore. The world has moved on. Not only has the album been a failure, but she also had to cancel concerts. Now, a number of dates, including in Nashville, New Orleans, and Houston on Lopez's tour, her first tour in 5 years, were cut this month with no explanation after Lopez previously announced 3 additional shows in Miami, Toronto, and New York in February. A source told the Post that the tour had added those dates due to popular demand. A veteran music industry insider who has worked with some of the biggest stars in music told the Post if they're canceling tour dates with someone at her level, it's bad, very bad. There are only a few people who can still draw crowds after decades, like Springsteen or Madonna. This is what the music industry insider said. And in what must be a painful blow, residents of the Bronx, where Lopez 54 proudly grew up, as chronicled in her 2002 hit song "Jenny from the Block," are viciously, not vicariously, because nobody wants to live through her, are viciously mocking a clip of her from the "This Is Me Now: A Love Story" companion movie, in which she lets down her hair, and the gym says I think they said at the gym, and says the look reminds her of being 16 in the Bronx and running up and down the block. Real Bronxite here, straight from the South Bronx, one user claimed in a TikTok video, J-Lo, we did not run up and down the block like that, even as a kid. Jennifer hasn't had. Oh, now here's the real gag. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of the article. So it says Jennifer hasn't had a big hit since 2007's On the Floor. The younger generation isn't really checking for her. Other than her diehard fans, no one was looking for a new J-Lo album, which she says herself in the documentary. The source who knows Lopez's family said the project was a complete misfire. Lopez had said she put up $20 million of her own money into the star-studded Amazon Prime musical, This Is Me Now, a Love Story, which she shouldn't have. Amazon paid to buy the film and the accompanying documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. There's a reason why it was never told. Nobody cared. All unpacking her roller coaster search for love and rekindled romance with Affleck, who she finally wed in 2021, 18 years after their first engagement was called off. The mindset was, let's create a Jennifer Lopez ecosystem that can push out into all the different worlds which she has traversed. This is what her manager, business partner Benny Medina told Billboard. First of all, she need to get rid of his ass, but I think that he's her only source of income. So Benny ain't going no damn where. A source said that Jennifer Love's music has created a beautifully written and produced. Okay, if you say so. They said a beautifully written and produced album. Well, first of all, if you listen to a lot of people, first of all, the lyrics was terrible. But anyway, if y'all like it, I love it. There are some who only know her for her incredible working career as an actor with her recent success, such as The Mother, Shotgun Wedding, Hustlers, and more. So coming back into a full album, it's very exciting for her. The movie This Is Me Now, a Love Story has received some positive reviews, including from the Post Johnny Olikinski, who gave it 3 stars. And good for her. But it doesn't negate the fact that the album just didn't do well. Maybe it's because I just think that people just don't care. People really don't care about Jennifer's relationship with Ben Affleck. I said that from the beginning. I'm like, first of all, I could understand if you did like maybe 2 or 3 songs on the album to talk about like Ben and y'all getting back together. If you want to do Real Dear Ben Part 2, that's cute. If you want to do another song where you talk about your love and relationships and your hopes and fears and things of being in a relationship, and you don't want that thing to crumble, I can understand it. That's showing you being vulnerable. That's showing like different sides of yourself that people want to get from you. But a whole album about your relationship with Ben Affleck, it was like it was going to be a chop and a dub from the beginning. And clearly, the proof is there. And so now I remember I was having a conversation and they were talking about that, well, they're having to rename the album as like her greatest hits or whatever, because like I said, if people don't care about this album, people are not going to want to hear all these new songs on the tour. She's not in a place of like a Madonna, where Madonna, even when people didn't care about a lot of the songs, her newer stuff, Madonna found a way to incorporate those newer songs and make it work within the show with costumes, choreography, all those other things, which even if we didn't like the mid-ass tracks that she had on that record that weren't even released as singles, we were here for it. So Madonna figured out a way to make those those non-single hits or those classic hits work in her favor. She was smart about that. Jennifer Lopez has not positioned herself in the music industry where she could do that, where she could take those type of risks, because quiet as it's kept, she's not someone who's really toured. She hasn't really done a tour. She like in the not in the way of like a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift or, like I said, Madonna. She doesn't tour with every album. There was years that she went without even touring. She would put out a record. She would throw the videos out on MTV. She would probably do an appearance here and there. She would do like some some live music special or whatever that was put on a DVD, and then that was it. But Jennifer Lopez wasn't really out here touring. It wasn't until she did that residency that in Vegas, and then when she turned 50, that It's My Party situation was when she really went and did a proper tour. Now that she's about to enter her mid 50s, because she's what, 54? Now she wants to kind of do the whole touring thing. And it's like, you waited too late. These people aren't really invested in Jennifer Lopez like that, because she really hasn't invested in her music career. So why would fans outside of the fandom take that risk? It's like she wasn't really thinking in regards to the whole business, because she was focusing too much on the acting part of her career rather than the music career. And especially now, you can't even depend on MTV and physical media and all that other stuff anymore. So now that she has to figure out how she navigates into this whole world of streaming, she hasn't figured that out, because the times have changed. She hasn't really, then I said, you haven't really brought over that audience. So outside of your hardcore fans, nobody cared. And I said, like, when you said you haven't had a hit since On the Floor, that should tell you something. Because I said from the beginning, I was like, why hasn't she done a record? Like, you need to be doing dance music. Stick to your strengths. You're not a singer. You're a performer. She's a brilliant performer. She can give you a show. But as far as singing goes, sis, now girl, you are not Mariah. Even though Mariah says she don't know you, but you can't blow like her. And I'm not expecting people in her magnitude to be able to sing like a Mariah, but you have to stick to your strengths. And your strengths is you get up on a stage, you give us a 1-2 step, your hair's blowing, you give us drama, you give us entertainment. That's what people are paying to see at a Jennifer Lopez concert. People are not trying to hear you try to act like you got a 5-octave vocal range when you barely got half of one. So you should have just stuck to your strengths, played the game, and did what you needed to do instead of trying to take a risk with an album nobody asked for. And now you're seeing it flop. What you should have been doing is out here, like I said, you needed like 10 more on the floors. You need to be doing stuff like that. Sidebar. What you really need to do is listen to Shakira's new album. Because, bitch, I listened to Shakira's new album when it came out on Friday, and that album is giving me my life. I could not stop listening to her new album. It is so good. I love, well, you don't know, but I'll tell you this. One of my favorite, it opens with Punteria with Cardi B. I was like, bitch, that is my song. It is giving me my life. I love this album. And ever since it came out, I've had it on repeat. It's been wait, hold on, because it's like hot as hell in here. I had to turn this heat off. I was like, oh, because it is freezing in New York.